What's going on YouTube? Uberman here. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about using sand in place of gravel. A lot of people use the gravel rocks. Personally, I don't. I started out with gravel and I switched all of my substrate in my tanks to, this is actually cichlid sand. This has buffers in it to help with the pH levels in the tank. Over here, however, this tank came with pool filter sand, and it's my first experience with it. I've never used it, but this stuff right here is about $30, $30 to $40 for a 20-pound bag. This gets expensive, especially when you're talking about a 139-gallon tank that's going to require something along the lines of 250 pounds. So those bags come in 20-pound bags. Okay, so you need 13 of them. 13 of them at $30-ish a piece. You get where I'm going with this. It's just expensive. It's great substrate, but you're going to pay for it. Now in these smaller tanks, this is 75. I didn't mind paying for it in that one. And my 20-gallon, which is where my fry are, I didn't mind putting it in that one. But this one had already come with pool filter sand, so I thought, you know what the hell, I'll use it. There's something you need to understand about using pool filter sand or play sand, and that's these pockets down here. I know you're thinking, well, what's the problem with those? Well, these are little air pockets, and you're going to have that. You're going to have that regardless of what you do. This is just a part of using sand. The issue with this is it can be toxic to your fish. Now, I haven't had any issues with it yet because I did some research before going ahead and using the sand. And what I found is food and their poop can get stuck down in here. You know, as the sand gets disturbed, it can end up down here in these air pockets. And as it begins to deteriorate, it builds up a pocket of gas. And all it takes is a fish digging, or, you know, if you've got any of these little bottom guys, none of mine are out, but I've got a crawdad in here. And cichlids themselves dig by nature. You know, they love digging themselves little holes. They hit one of those, it releases what can be a deadly pocket of gas that could kill your fish. So I want to go over using sand in your tank. We're going to start with the very beginning, sand. Okay, I'm going to be switching out these gravel rocks, and there's nothing wrong with gravel, but cichlids really seem to enjoy their sand. They love the sand, and I just prefer the natural look of it over gravel. So let's head outside, because this is where all the fun begins. First step is to figure out how much sand you're going to need. All right, you can Google it. There's plenty of websites with a calculator where you enter in the height and the width of your tank and the depth, and then you tell it how much sand you'd like. 2 inches, 3 inches of sand. It will tell you exactly how many pounds of sand to get. So I'm going to go in my 139 gallon with just under 2 inches, just under 3 inches of sand, and it called for 220 pounds. So these are 50-pound bags. Instead of paying $30 plus per bag, I went to Home Depot, and they have this pool filter sand, which is great. It works fine for fish, for $5.49 a bag. So 4 bags, you know, 20 bucks. I'll take it. You're gonna need to get yourself some buckets. Angel says hi. Get yourself some buckets, at least 2. If you got someone that can help you, then you know, you can get more than 2 buckets. But I'm going to be doing this one on my own. Cut your sand open, and then proceed to don't dump the whole bag in there, guys. Just a heads up, don't dump the entire bag. Do about 10 pounds at a time. I'd say give yourself maybe a quarter to a fifth of a bucket of sand, and then the rest is going to be your water hose. So let's pour this in here. All right, once you've poured the appropriate amount of sand that you feel comfortable cleaning, yes, sand has to be cleaned, come over here and crank on your hose. And proceed to let the bucket fill up. This is going to be dirty, and this is why we're cleaning it. You don't want this in your tank. Guys, your tank will be nasty if you just go buy sand and throw it in there. Stir it up, get it nice and agitated, and then just let it spill over. And I like to put it on a little bit of an incline so that it more spills over one direction. And you'll see how all these suds and all this nastiness will just dump over. And I'm telling you guys, be prepared. This can take hours. 4 bags of sand, just me, one person doing this. I'm probably looking at a minimum of 2 hours digging in sand, cleaning. But see how all that nastiness just goes right over the top? Dog, don't drink it. That's exactly what you want. And you get your hand, you dig it in here and you stir it up. And you keep stirring it up. Look at that. You want anything that's going to be floating in here, little particulates, get that out of there. Trust me, guys, I've done this several times, and I know spending a couple hours playing in sand and water doesn't sound like a whole lot of fun, but I promise you it's worth it, because if you don't do this properly, you're going to end up with a filthy tank. And while eventually everything will settle to the bottom, the first time you go in there and disturb the sand, which we'll get into later why you would do that, all this dust is going to get kicked back up again, and you're going to end up with a filthy tank, and it's just going to stay this way until eventually you do enough water changes to get it cleaned out. So just save yourself the trouble, spend the time to do it right the first time. I'm going to go ahead and finish this out, and then we'll come back. We'll transfer once this is clean. Once the water runs, it will never be completely clear, but you can see all the dust in here. And once we can get this mostly clear, then we will transfer this sand, dump the water out, we'll transfer the sand into this bucket, which is for clean sand, and then we'll bring the bag back and we'll do it all over again. And we will continue doing this until we have cleaned all the sand. Alright, so as you can see here, the sand that we put in there is now running clear. That's how you want it. This sand is now ready to move into the other bucket, and then we'll continue doing this until we have all of the sand thoroughly rinsed. Alright, well, now that the sand has been rinsed, we've put it in our tank. Now it's time to talk about what you do to maintain your sand. Just like gravel, your sand has to be cleaned, which means in most cases you'll probably want to use one of those, I personally have a Python. It's like a little suction skimmer that you put in the bottom. Now, the thing with sand is you can easily suck it up into your Python. So you can't take your skimmer and stick it all the way down in the sand, or you're going to end up just sucking sand right out of your faucet. What you do is just run it over the top slowly and gently brush it, and you will notice that you will pick up just about all of the debris like that. Now, as for those air pockets that were here before, as you can see, they're gone all the way through. So what you do is, I like to do it every every couple weeks or so, but I will do a partial water change. Then I will dig my hand like a little rake. I'll dig my fingers into the sand and just stir it up all throughout the whole tank. And for me, I move these rocks, not every time, not at all. The fish don't tend to go back there because of the bubble wall, and there's a strong current that runs back there, so the fish tend to stay away from the very back wall. But I will move some of this other stuff around, and I do stir up the sand really, really well, and then do my water change and put everything back. So with that being said, make sure that when you skim your sand to get the fish debris out, that you take your hand and, get in there and stir up the sand really, really well. And as long as you do that regularly, you won't have any problems, guys. I've been using sand for quite a while. My fish love it. I love the look of it, and it's just absolutely worth it, in my opinion, to switch from gravel to sand. So I hope you found this video helpful. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and be safe out there.